Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Dear student teachers, I am Rashid Salim with lecture number 22. This lecture is about writing an effective paragraph. But first, let's have a look at what we learnt in lecture number 21. Lecture 21 was really very interesting, if you can recall. It was about understanding and appreciating songs in English. And if I'm not mistaken, I think you listened to 4 different songs in English of various categories and having different themes in it. And you also learned how to analyze those song lyrics. And in the end, I also gave you an assignment. I asked you to listen to a song of your own choice and then write down the lyrics. Hope you have done that. Have you? Very good. Now, I'm not really interested in knowing whether your lyric was 100% accurate or not. If you have done the activity, very good. If you have tried your best, very good. Because it's not the product that I'm interested in, it's the process that I want you to complete. Because in language learning, we can't seek perfections. We can actually, we learn to make mistakes. That is part of learning. Okay, that was what we learned in lecture number 21. Lecture number 22 is very important because its objectives are to identify elements of effective paragraphs. What are the elements of effective paragraph? You should be able to identify these elements. And then we need to analyze types of paragraphs and various structures of paragraphs that we can use. And in the end, you should also be able to write unified, cohesive and coherent paragraph. We'll look into these words in detail later on, but unified means that one paragraph deals only with one idea, and cohesive means that it has one sentence naturally leads to the next sentence, and coherent means that the information in the paragraph is ordered and organized in some logical or chronological or in some set pattern, in some there is a method. Okay, so these are the objectives of lecture number 22. But let's first begin with the title itself. Before we can write an effective paragraph, we need to know what a paragraph is. So who will tell me what a paragraph is? That's right. A paragraph is a group of sentences that tells about one subject or area. So if your paragraph is telling us about lots of things or lots of subjects, it's not really a paragraph. Okay, a paragraph must tell, it's a group of sentences, so it could be 3 sentences, 5 sentences, 6 sentences, 7 sentences, 20 sentences. The number of sentences doesn't matter. Usually a minimum of sentences in a paragraph are 2 or 3, but there could be 1 sentence paragraph as well. It depends. The main thing is that this group of sentences should talk about only one subject or only one area. So the condition is that each sentence in a paragraph must give information about the topic. So if there is a sentence that doesn't add anything, any information about the topic, that sentence will be called irrelevant and it must be crossed out of the paragraph. It shouldn't be part of the paragraph because each sentence actually should build or should support the main idea which is given in the paragraph. Okay, so basically paragraph is a unit of writing It's a group of sentences, it's a unit of writing in which all the sentences they help each other to bring out the theme or the main idea of that paragraph. Okay, why do we write a paragraph? It's very important to know the reasons behind writing a paragraph, because if we don't know the reason of writing a paragraph, the paragraph can't be really very effective. Effective in doing what? By effective, it means that it is effective in achieving its aim. If you don't know the aim of your paragraph, it can't be effective, because you haven't set any target, so you can't judge how effective your paragraph has been. So there are two things that are important when you are writing a paragraph. One is the subject matter, or what you want to say, and second is the reason for writing it, or why you want to say it. So basically, what, why, and when, the three questions you should ask when you are writing a paragraph. What do you want to say? Why do you want to say? And how will you say it? What is the best structure or best method to say it? We'll talk about how later on. Let's first look at why. Usually we write a paragraph to describe something. In this case, it will be a descriptive paragraph. We can describe a place, we can describe a person, we can describe a picture, we can describe a process. It could be anything. Okay, we can write a paragraph to tell a story. And you know what kind of paragraph would it be? That's right, it would be a narrative paragraph. So a paragraph could be descriptive, or it could be a narrative. And narrative paragraph could tell a story, and this story could be a real story. In that case, it would be non-fiction. Otherwise, it would be fictional paragraph. Okay, another common reason for writing a paragraph is to explain something. Very often teachers explain something. They give the detailed process, or how something works, how to build something, how to do something. You explain how salts are analyzed in the chemistry lab, or how kites are made. So you explain it. Very often we explain when we are teaching, so we have to write explaining paragraph, or you can call it expository paragraph. Okay, so far we have learned that there are three kinds of paragraphs: descriptive paragraph, narrative paragraph, and expository paragraph. Okay, we sometimes also have to write persuasive paragraphs when we want to persuade someone. Usually if we are doing marketing, we want to sell our products, we want to persuade our expected customers to buy our product than someone else. Or if it is a debatable topic, we have a particular stance, particular point of view, we want to convince or persuade people to agree with us. Or if it is convincing, like in an election, we are campaigning for a candidate and we want to persuade the expected voters to vote for a particular candidate. So that kind of paragraph would be called a persuasive paragraph. Well, there could be other reasons as well. There could be you might write a paragraph merely to entertain. Okay, but generally speaking, in academic world, you have to write these four kinds of paragraphs: descriptive, narrative, expository, or persuasive paragraphs. Okay, so once you have decided what you will write about and why you are writing it, the next question is how to write it. And for how, first let's look at different parts of the paragraph. Let's understand the structure of a paragraph before we try to build a paragraph. Okay, this is something that you have done before. You know that a paragraph basically has three parts in it: topic sentence, sporting details, and closing statement. Now, I hope you can recall what a topic sentence is. Even if you can't recall it, you can guess it from its title. Topic sentence states the main idea of the paragraph. In other words, a topic sentence gives the topic of the paragraph. It tells the reader what the paragraph will be about. And a good topic sentence does two things. Number one, it names the subject, it gives a title. And number two, it gives the focus or main point. A topic is not enough. It should also give the main point or the focus of the paragraph. For example, if the subject is Egypt, Egypt is a big country, and you can talk about various things about Egypt. You can talk about geography of Egypt, you can talk about history of Egypt, you can talk about culture of Egypt, you can talk about weather of Egypt, you can talk about tourism in Egypt, you can talk about football players of Egypt, etc. There are plenty of things you can talk about. So Egypt is a topic, it's the subject, but you also need to think about the main focus of your paragraph. So maybe your paragraph is going to be about the religion in Egypt, or ancient religion in Egypt. Okay, similarly, if your subject is Egyptian religion, again, you know, it is very broad, and you can give a specific focus to gods when you are talking about Egyptian religion. Because Egyptian religion, you can think of modern religion of Egypt, you can think of ancient religions of Egypt, you can think of the various gods and goddesses in Egyptian mythology. You can think of the concept of gods. So once you have identified the subject, you should also be able to focus or pinpoint the specific area that you are going to write your paragraph about, because a paragraph can't be too generic, right? You should specify the area or the focus or the main point of your paragraph. Okay, now what are the sporting details? Once again, the answer lies in the title itself. Details that support the main idea are called sporting details. So these are the sentences that are connected to the main idea. They include information or details the reader needs in order to understand the topic. So these sentences should be ordered in the best possible order. There are different ways you can order it, but mainly you can order them either by time. In that case, they will be called chronological order. What happened first, what happened second, what happened third, and you order the things in the same way, then this order is called chronological order. Or by location. Okay. So this kind of order will be like logical order. One point logically leads to another point. Or in terms of importance, you begin with the most important point or with the least important point, and gradually you move on to either the most important point or the least important point. In other words, your ideas are going to be ordered in order of priority, from least to most or from most to least. It is up to you. So your the sporting details are the sentences that support your main sentence, your topic sentence, and the purpose of the sporting detail is to inform the reader of all details that are required to understand the topic. And these supporting details or sentences must be ordered in the best possible way. The three ways that we can follow are chronological order, logical order, and priority order. Well, there are other ways as well, but basically the supporting details must be organized in a proper way. Okay, then we have the closing statement. And closing statement sums up the paragraph's message. It gives the summary, the main point. It restates the main point. And then it reminds the readers of the topic, the crucial point of the topic. Okay. All right, so these are the three important points of parts of a paragraph: topic sentence, supporting details, and closing statement. So if you want to write an effective paragraph, first you should have a clear subject, main focus. Then you should know why you are writing this paragraph, and then you should structure it properly, and your paragraph must have a topic sentence in it. Usually the first sentence of the paragraph is the topic sentence, but it is not essential. Sometimes the topic sentence could be in the middle of a paragraph, or sometimes it could be the last sentence of the paragraph, especially if you want to maintain suspense. But normally speaking, in academic circles, it is preferred that the first sentence of your paragraph is a topic sentence. The body paragraphs are the supporting details, and the last sentence is usually the closing statement. But as I said earlier, you don't have to follow it in letter and spirit. Sometimes you can be a little bit of creative, but the main thing is that there should be these three parts in your paragraph. It is not necessary that the first sentence should be topic sentence and the last sentence should be closing statement, but it is considered better. And I would advise that in the beginning you follow the norm, but later on, when you feel confident in writing paragraphs, you can break these rules. But first learn these rules, follow them. Once you feel confident, you can break them. Okay, so we move on. Here is an example. I'm going to read out this paragraph aloud for you first. The ancient Egyptians believed in many different gods and goddesses, and each one had their own role to play in maintaining peace and harmony across the land. Some gods and goddesses took part in creation. Other gods and goddesses brought the flood every year. Some offered protection, and some took care of people after they died. Egyptians had local gods who represented towns and minor gods who represented plants or animals. The ancient Egyptians believed that it was important to recognize and worship these gods and goddesses so that life continued smoothly. So let's have a look at it. The first sentence is written in bold type, and it is marked as the topic sentence because it tells us about the topic of this sentence. The topic of this sentence is that this paragraph is going to talk about the religious beliefs of Egyptians, ancient Egyptians. Okay. Then you have the body paragraphs, and here we talk about various gods. One god for who is responsible for bringing flood, one god who is responsible for creating everything, etc., etc. And in the end, we restate the idea, and we talk about Egyptian gods, and it was believed that in order to keep harmony across the land or to continue life smoothly, why these gods were needed, why people believed in those gods. So this is an effective paragraph because it explains. It is an expository paragraph. It begins with a topic sentence, it has details in it, and finally it has the closing statement. So this should serve as a good example for your own paragraphs. Okay, now look at these pieces of information, and here you have set of details, 4 points, and after reading them out you are going to find out a good topic sentence for this paragraph. So you want to add this these kind of information in your paragraph, this set of information. What should be a good topic sentence? Okay, so you have 2 minutes to go through this and then think of a topic sentence. All right, I hope that you have gone through these 4 sentences and you understand them. So what could be the topic sentence? The topic sentence is a theme that runs through all these 4 sentences, something which is common to all these sentences. And what is that? There is mother and father penguins. How do they take care of their kids? All right, now here are some possible responses by the students. So these are just examples. Mother and father penguins both take care of their young. This could be one topic sentence. Another topic sentence that you can derive from the earlier 4 sentences could be, mother and father penguins play a very important role in raising their young. Or, penguin mom and dads are very good parents. This could be very informal because mom and dad are informal sentences. So the purpose of this topic sentence could be explaining the process in an informal situation. Okay, so here is the last topic sentence. Penguin parents are very protective of their young, and I'll show you how. So this is also an informal way of starting your paragraph. But anyway, here you have 4 topic sentences that we have derived from the earlier points. Okay, now let's move on to paragraph details. Here is another situation. Suppose that your topic sentence is that Arizona has been thinking about extending the school year from May to June, but I think that they should not extend the school year. Arizona is a state in the United States, and you know education is a provincial or state subject in the United States. So Arizona here means Arizona State has been thinking about extending the school year from May to June, but I think that they should not extend the school year. So this is the topic sentence. What are some details you would expect to see in this paragraph? Okay, so here are some examples. Some details in this paragraph might be about why Arizona is extending the school year, the reason, when they plan to extend the school year, so when they are going to implement this change, and reasons why it is a bad idea. Of course, this is very crucial. If you are going to disagree with this decision, then definitely you have to give a number of reasons why you think it is a bad idea. So this is how you will develop your paragraph. Okay, now here you have another exercise. I want you to take 3 to 5 minutes, read this paragraph on your own, and once you have read it, you will look for a closing statement for this paragraph. Okay, hope that you have gone through this paragraph, and can you think of a closing statement for this paragraph? it's better if you write it down on a piece of paper. So you can pause this video and you can write down a closing statement first. Okay, here are some examples of closing statements for the paragraph. Now, we are glad that the Egyptians worked so hard so that we can admire the beauty. Another possible example could be, the pyramids have been standing in Egypt for a long time and they still stand for people to see. One example could be, you can see why the Egyptians would be proud of all this hard work. Another example could be, we hope that someday scientists will be able to figure out how Egyptians built these ancient structures. Okay, I'm sorry for this mistake here. It should be scientists. It should be in the plural, not scientist. So we hope that someday scientists will be able to figure out how Egyptians built these ancient structures. Well, these are just 4 examples of closing statements, but I hope the closing statement that you wrote matches with one of these. Even if it doesn't, it should still give you some ideas how you can close this paragraph. Okay, we move on. Now we are going to build a paragraph, and here we have a rough draft written by a student. And again, I would like you to pause this video for a little while and go through this paragraph. And I'm not really sure if it is a paragraph, because it is just thoughts written on the paper without any organized way. It's like jumbled up ideas and sentences, and we can't really call it a paragraph because there are so many ideas and they have been put together without any order, and we don't have the unification of paragraph. This paragraph lacks, if it is a paragraph, this information lacks unity, it lacks cohesion, and it lacks coherence. By unity we mean that one paragraph should deal only with one idea, whereas here you have different ideas yoked together, forced together. It's not cohesive because we don't have any way of knowing how this paragraph flows, how information flows from one sentence into another sentence. And it is not coherent because we don't know the logical connection between these sentences. In other words, it's not a paragraph. It's just jumbled up thoughts and sentences. So I want you to read it on your own, and then I'm going to give you a task that you will do based on this piece of information. Okay? I hope you have gone through it. So here is your task. You are going to separate this piece of information into sentences, because you see we don't even have punctuation marks here. It should start with the capital letter. There should be some ending punctuation letters like a question mark or a full stop or a sign of exclamation, and there should be other punctuation marks such as colon, semicolon, comma in it. But you see that it's just words, group of words. So first thing you need to do is you should find out where each sentence finishes, ends. For example, Mary C. Cole was born in 1805 in Kingston, Jamaica. Probably this is where one sentence ends. So we should put a full stop here, and we should capitalize M of Mary and S of C. Cole, and K of Kingston and J of Jamaica, because these are proper names. So we should write them with capital letters. And then the next sentence should start with, her mother practiced as a doctress using medical knowledge which women had brought from Africa and developed in the tropics from her mother. In the tropics, I think this is where the sentence should end, so you should put a full stop here, and H of her should be capital here because this is the first letter of the second sentence. So this is how you are going to do it. You are going to rewrite this piece of information. You are going to separate this information into sentences. Once you have done that, you will see that this is not one paragraph because there are lots of ideas discussed in it. So basically it should be developed into different separate paragraphs. So take 5 minutes in doing this exercise, and you can pause the video if you like to, and then see where each of this ends, and you can, if you can, separate it into paragraphs and into sentences. Remember earlier we talked about a paragraph. What is a paragraph? So before you can actually separate it into paragraph, you need to recall what a paragraph is. It is a group of sentences, like a brick of, it is like a wall of bricks, right? So if a sentence is a brick, paragraph is a wall. What groups them? What groups the sentences together? One idea. In order to separate paragraphs from the previous passage, you have to look for the number of ideas. If there are 3 ideas, there should be 3 paragraphs. If there are 2 ideas, there should be 2 paragraphs. So you should identify those ideas first. First of all, you need to write down the main theme for each paragraph. How many paragraphs did you separate it into? And then you need to write down the main theme for each paragraph. What is the main theme? What's the main topic of each paragraph? How many paragraphs, by the way, do you think this passage should be split into? 2, 3, 4 maybe? Okay. Now how will you do that? You will outline your recipe. You will outline your ideas. Okay. That means first you will think of number of paragraphs, then you will think of the theme for each paragraph, and then you will try to arrange that theme. So here actually we are going a little bit beyond writing a paragraph, because usually a paragraph doesn't come in isolation. It comes in an essay and it is interconnected with other paragraphs. So once you have learned how to structure a paragraph, you also need to know how to order a paragraph within a broader structure, within an essay, for example. So here is your recipe for making an outline. First thing is that you should plan. Just like when you are constructing a house, you make a map or a plan of the house first. So you need to think about this. What do you want to say? And you need to think about the structure. And if you can recall earlier, I told that once you have learned what to say and why to say, it will be easier for you to answer the question, how to say it. So in your planning, in fact, you should think of, before writing anything, you should think of a word, a keyword, map. What do we mean by map? If you can recall, I had given you this keyword earlier. Map is a keyword. M stands for message, A stands for audience, and P stands for purpose. So whenever you are writing something, you should have a map. That means you should know what the message of your writing is, who are the audience of your message, of your writing, and what is the purpose of your writing. So once you have a map, it will be easier to chalk out the structure, to plan your piece of writing. After planning, the actual task is writing. and here you need to communicate your ideas. And remember that writing is a process. It's not a product. It is a process. So this means it involves a series of steps. You should write the first draft, second draft, third draft before you can write the fourth or final draft. Or sometimes you might even write fifth, sixth, seventh draft. When we look at a perfect paragraph, an effective paragraph, we might think that great writers write it straight away. But that's wrong. Great writers always write first, second, and third drafts. Okay? So don't try to do it in a hurry. Instead, follow the process. Write the first draft, second draft, third draft, and each time you will see that your draft will improve gradually. Okay? So this is an important skill. First of all, you need to plan, and in planning you need to know what your message is, who your audience are, what is your purpose, and what structure you are going to follow. Once you have planned it, you are going to write your rough draft, first draft, second draft, third draft, and you are going to review your drafts for various purposes. First time you can review it for meaning. Second time you can review it for organization. And third time you can review it for mechanics. And by mechanics I mean punctuation, spelling, grammar, and formatting. Okay? So you can review it various times. First time you can review it for the meaning, whether your meaning is properly communicated or not. Second time you can review it for organizing those ideas properly, whether the ideas that you have expressed, are they in a proper order, do they follow chronological, logical, or priority order. And finally, you can review your draft in the light of grammar mistakes, punctuation mistakes, spelling mistakes, or your handwriting or formatting problems. So this is the recipe for writing an effective paragraph. Okay, so how do you outline? Let's have a look at this outline here. You have suppose you have three paragraphs. Number 1, nursing and models. Number 2, history of models. And number 3, the Markov model, strengths and weaknesses. For each of these topics, for each of these paragraphs, you have the subtopics like brief history of nursing practice, the purpose of a model. And within these subtopics, you can give the specific information or the supporting detail. Like among history of nursing practice, you can think of that it began in 1790 by Nightingale, Florence Nightingale, who was a nurse, and it was largely disorganized in the beginning. Then its original mission was to heal the patients. So this is how you are going to make an outline, and it is going to be in 3 levels. Level 1 is the paragraph or the topic. Level 2 is the subtopic, and level 3 is the supporting detail, right? So here you can have level 1, level 2, and level 3 is the supporting detail. There are different ways of doing it. Okay, but basically it is important that you write an outline for your paragraph before you start writing it. It is an important and essential part of the process of writing. Okay, now what is the structure of your paragraph? You see there is an inverted triangle at the top, then you have a rectangle, and then you have a triangle at the bottom. Inverted triangle means that you are going to from a generalized point, generic point, you are going to a specific point. you are going to talk about the focus or main idea of your topic. So this is going to be like the thesis of your essay or the outline of your essay. Well, you can use this structure for an essay as well as for a paragraph. Then your main section has supporting details, which has point A, point B, and for each point you have the supporting details. Okay. Well, if it is a paragraph, there is going to be only one main point, and then there are going to be the supporting details. But here the structure is that of an essay, where you have various paragraphs. So you have paragraph A, which gives main point A. You have supporting details that go in paragraph A. Then you have main point B in paragraph B, and then you have supporting details that go in paragraph B. Finally, you have the conclusion of the essay. You know, each paragraph has a concluding sentence, and then each essay has a conclusion. Okay, so this is the structure that you can follow. And if you are going to look at the paragraph here, in fact, this is an essay here, and this is a paragraph here. I forgot. So in one paragraph, you have a topic sentence, then you have supporting details, and then you have the conclusion, the concluding sentence. So this is the structure of a paragraph. This is the structure of an essay. So you can see this is paragraph 1, the same structure. Then you have paragraph 2, the same structure here. Then you have paragraph 3. Then you have paragraph 4. And these three paragraphs are part of this paragraph, therefore they are smaller in size. Then you have a final paragraph. So in other words, you can say that an essay has an introductory paragraph, a concluding paragraph, and body paragraphs. Whereas each paragraph has a topic sentence, supporting details or body, and the concluding sentence. Okay, so an essay is made up of many paragraphs. One paragraph has a topic sentence and the supporting details and the concluding sentences, and then you have introductory paragraph, body paragraphs, and closing or final paragraph that will make it an essay. So forget about these headings. This one is an essay and this one is a paragraph. So you should know the structure of a paragraph. Once you have learnt the structure of a paragraph, you should also learn the structure of an essay, which is a group of paragraphs. So if a paragraph is group of sentences, an essay is group of paragraphs. So it's basically a unit of discourse. A unit of discourse. You have sentences, and you have group of sentences that make paragraph. You have group of paragraphs that make an essay. So you should have this clear structure in mind whenever you are writing an essay or a paragraph. Okay, now here we are going to look at another example of a paragraph. You have looked at a paragraph earlier, and I told you that each sentence is like a brick and each paragraph is like a wall. So you can think of a sentence like a brick, and a paragraph like a wall, and an essay like a house. A house is made of walls. Walls are made of sentences. Okay, now let's repeat paragraph structure. First, I would like to go through this paragraph quickly. Students require more recreational time in order to better focus on lessons in class. In fact, studies have shown that students who enjoy a recess of more than 45 minutes consistently score better on tests immediately following the recess period. Clinical analysis further suggests that physical exercise greatly improves the ability to focus on academic materials. Longer periods of recess are clearly required to allow students the best possible chances of success in their studies. Clearly, physical exercise is just one of the necessary ingredients for improving student scores on standardized tests. So let's look at this paragraph. Does it deal with one topic? It does. Therefore, this paragraph is a unified paragraph. Okay, is it cohesive? Does it have the topic sentence, the supporting details, and the concluding sentence? Yes, it does. This is the topic sentence here. Students require more recreational time in order to better focus on lessons in class. So here is the topic. More recreational time is the topic, and our focus is going to be on the better performance of the students. Then you have the supporting sentences. Okay. Here you have the research findings, studies have shown, and here you have clinical analysis. So this is the supporting data that supports our topic. Okay, this one is the concluding sentence. The second last sentence is the concluding sentence of this paragraph. And finally, you have a transitional sentence. We didn't learn about transitional sentence earlier, but we did talk about cohesion. And by cohesion, I told you that how one sentence is related to another sentence, how one idea is linked with another idea. Now, normally, in order to show the relationship between the ideas or the relationship between these sentences, we use transitional devices. We also call them cohesive devices. So you can think of cohesive devices like cement. How these bricks are held together in a wall? By using cement. And this is really very important. And if you can recall, in an earlier lecture, I used another analogy. I used transitional devices, and I said that they are like signposts beside the road. So if you are traveling on a motorway, you look at these signposts and they help you when is the next exit, when is the next rest area, when is the next praying area, etc., etc. So these transitional devices are really very important in order to make your paragraph cohesive and coherent. Okay, so this is an effective paragraph here. It has the topic sentence, it has the supporting details in it, it has the concluding sentence, and it has the transitional sentence in it, transitional device like clearly, that gives us the logical connection between these sentences. Therefore, this is an effective paragraph because it is well structured, because it is unified, it deals only with one topic, it is cohesive, and it is coherent. Okay, so here is the paragraph recipe once again. How are you going to write an effective paragraph? First you introduce, then you expand or justify your stance, and finally you conclude. So in other words, you have the topic sentence, so you introduce your topic through the topic sentence, you expand or justify your stance through the supporting details, and finally you restate or summarize your main idea through a conclusion or concluding sentence. So this is the paragraph recipe. Then you shouldn't forget the transition sentences as well. Sometimes you can have a separate transition sentence, but normally you don't require a separate transition sentence. You can only use transitional words in your introductory, concluding, or supporting detailed sentences. So the important thing is the transitional devices. Let's look at the pitfalls now. What are the things that you should avoid you should avoid too long sentences. If your paragraph is too long, this means that you are not following a particular structure. Otherwise, you will probably split it into multiple paragraphs. So your paragraph should be 5, 7, 10 sentences. It shouldn't run in 200 sentences. If your paragraph has no clear idea or too many ideas in it, again it is malfunctioning. It is not effective. It should have only one idea, and this one idea should be clearly stated. And third thing is that your paragraph should be coherent and cohesive. It should naturally flow from one sentence to next sentence, from one idea to next idea. And for that you will use linking words. I've used various words for it. You can call them linking words, you can call them cohesive devices, you can call them transitional devices, but they are the same nonetheless. So you should avoid such outlines that are too long, that have no clear idea or have too many ideas in it, or that have poor flow of ideas. Okay, now we move on and we look at linking words themselves. What are linking words? We should use these words quite often in our essays and in our paragraphs. Like if we have many ideas, we can say first, second, third, or firstly, secondly, thirdly. Furthermore, when we want to add an idea to the previous idea, we can say furthermore, or in addition to that, or another. Okay, and if we want to contrast two ideas, we can use however, or we can say on the one hand, on the other hand. So this will give an idea to our reader that we are comparing two ideas, we are contrasting two ideas here. And finally, we can use the word consequently, which will give a clear idea that now we are heading towards the conclusion, towards the result of this section. And we can use this consequently to show causal relationship. You know, some ideas have cause and effect relationship between them. So if two ideas have cause and effect relationship with them, we can use the word consequently, or we can say as a result. So here we have a practice situation for you. You are going to build a paragraph, and for this you are going to work in a group. So try to find 2 or 3 members in a group, and each one of you should have a blank piece of paper, and on this you will write a topic sentence. Pick up any idea or subject that you like, and if you are stuck, you can use one of these. You can say cats are man's best friend, virtual friends but lonely. You can write a topic sentence about celebrity. You can think of the topic as celebrity, or you are such a tweet, or you can think of any other topic. So write a topic sentence on a piece of paper. This is step 1. Okay, in step 2, you pass the sheet to the person beside you, and you read the topic sentence you have just received. Now write a supporting sentence for it. Okay, you have 2 minutes to do this activity. Then in step 3, you are going to pass the sheet to the person beside you and read the topic sentence and supporting sentence you have just received, and now write another supporting sentence for it. Okay, again you have 2 minutes for it. Okay, step number 4 is pass the sheet to the person beside you, read the topic sentence and 2 supporting sentences you have just received, and now you are going to write a concluding sentence for it. And again, this time you have 3 minutes. Okay, so this is how you will write a paragraph. Why I want you to do it in group? Because you see, this way you will learn various parts of the paragraph, and you will also learn how these are connected together. Okay, so with this we come to the end, and now we have a quick look at summary of what we learned today. In lecture number 22 we learned how to identify elements of effective paragraphs, and in particular we learned that an effective paragraph has a topic sentence, it has supporting details, and it has the concluding sentence in it. We also learned to analyze types and structure of various paragraphs. So the types and structure actually is determined by the purpose. So if we are writing to explain something, we will write expository paragraph. If we are writing to persuade someone, we are going to write persuasive paragraph. If we are writing to tell a story, we are going to write a narrative paragraph. And if we are going to describe something, we will write a descriptive paragraph. An expository paragraph usually has an order of doing things like a process, first, second, third. Persuasive paragraph can be ordered in a logical way. Narrative paragraph can be ordered in a chronological way. What happened first, what happened second, what happened third. So there are different ways you can organize these. But remember that while we analyze, we also need to learn to use cohesive devices, because only this way we will be able to write a unified, cohesive and coherent paragraph. So if you are able to learn, if you are able to write a unified, cohesive and coherent paragraph, you have learnt the art of writing an effective paragraph. So I hope after this you should be able to write effective paragraphs of various kinds, and I believe this will this lecture will not only improve your skills, it will also give you ideas and hints on how to analyze paragraphs when you are reading it, and how to write such effective paragraphs yourself. Thank you very much.